Karoline Leavitt stood on the Hannity stage at Fox News, the spotlight illuminating the deep blue suit of the 27-year-old White House press secretary. Her heart pounded before the high-stakes showdown. Just minutes earlier, De Niro had stepped out declaring, "Trump is a disaster and Leavitt is his puppet." The brief but sharp attack sent the crowd into a frenzy, applause mixing with whistles. Leavitt, gripping the microphone tightly, her eyes blazing, didn't flinch before the millions watching. De Niro, with 2 Oscars and a new empire, was confident. He'd overpower this young MAGA woman. But Leavitt, armed with her Catholic faith and unwavering loyalty to Trump, saw this as her chance to prove him wrong for calling her a puppet. She stepped into the light, ready to turn the stage into her battlefield. This wasn't just a debate. It was Leavitt's moment to flip the script and steal the spotlight from De Niro. The studio glowed with bright lights, the audience falling silent, as Robert De Niro stood center stage, his black suit hugging his frame, his gaze cold and sharp like the Vito Corleone he once portrayed. The camera panned slowly, scattered applause rising from the liberal corner as Sean Hannity introduced, Hollywood legend never afraid to speak his mind, Robert De Niro. He nodded slightly, grabbed the mic, and wasted no time landing his first blow. "I'm here to say one thing," he began, his deep voice resonating. "Donald Trump is the biggest disaster America has ever seen, and Karoline Leavitt, the Gen Z kid, is his newest puppet, a mouthpiece who knows nothing beyond reading the scripts Trump shoves in her hands." The crowd erupted. MAGA supporters whistling in protest, liberals clapping wildly. The studio air instantly heated up like a furnace. De Niro leaned forward, his left hand raised like a seasoned stage actor, his eyes sweeping the audience. "You think I'm kidding?" He smirked, his thick New York accent from Little Italy cutting through. "I've seen guys like Trump, con men, all flash, no substance. I've played gangsters in movies, but Trump's the real gangster. And Leavitt? She's his childish lackey. She's 27, hasn't lived enough to know what's going on, and she dares stand before the nation as a spokesperson for a clown." Laughter roared from the liberal side. A few people held up phones, recording, knowing this line would spread fast online. He didn't stop. De Niro stepped aside, pointing straight at the camera as if addressing Leavitt backstage. "She's the youngest press secretary in history, right? Sounds nice. But what's she done besides cover for Trump? Look at the signal leak. She let the world see Trump's plans by adding a reporter to the chat by mistake. I don't know if she's incompetent or intentional, but if that's how she represents the American people, we're in big trouble." The audience howled with laughter, someone shouting, "Right on, Bobby." De Niro shrugged, a smirk curling his lips as if he'd just delivered a knockout punch. Sean Hannity tried to cut in. "Bob, she's coming out to face you right now. What, do you think?" But De Niro interrupted instantly, his voice sharper than ever. "Face me? I'd love that. I want to see her explain how she justifies being Trump's puppet, a guy I've called a danger for years. I stood outside his courthouse, told the crowd to their faces he's unfit to lead, and now he's back with a Gen Z kid as his megaphone. It's shameful." He waved a dismissive hand. The audience split, half cheering, half booing loudly. De Niro paced the stage, his voice dropping low, dripping with drama like his Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. "You know, I'm not just talking for fun. I've seen America through decades. I grew up on real streets, not fake mansions like Trump. I make movies, I built new, I live real. Trump, he just destroys. And Leavitt? She's the young face he uses to fool people. Like, look, I'm modern, but she's not fooling me." He paused. "She's got Catholic faith, prays every day, fine. But if she's praying to cover for Trump, even God can't save her." Laughter erupted again, louder this time. A few stood to clap. He turned toward backstage where Leavitt waited. "Karoline, I know you hear me," he said, his tone brimming with challenge. "You tweet you're not afraid of anyone, that you'll defend Trump at all costs. So come out here. I want to hear you. No edits, no scripts, just the truth. But I'll warn you, I don't go easy. I've fought bigger than you my whole life, from film sets to politics, and I've never lost." He pointed toward the wings, the crowd roaring with applause, the tension thick as a taut string. De Niro sat down, tapping the table lightly. a smug grin plastered on his face. She wants to be Trump's mouthpiece? Fine. But don't expect me to stay quiet when she steps out. This isn't a movie, it's real life, Darrow said, eyes glinting with confidence. And I'll show the country exactly how she falls. He winked at Hannity, who laughed, stirring the crowd even more. Karoline, you hear that? He's ready, Hannity called out. Cheers erupted. Phones lit up the room like stars. All eyes turned to the wings where Karoline Leavitt stood, moments from stepping into the fire. Backstage, the young press secretary stood still behind the curtain, stage lights casting a soft glow across her face. Darrow's words echoed in her mind, Gen Z puppet, clueless kid. Each insult hit like a strike, but she didn't flinch. Her deep blue suit was crisp, her blonde hair tied neatly, fists clenched at her sides, eyes blazing with quiet defiance. This was familiar turf, Fox News. She'd sparred on Fox and Friends. She wasn't about to let Robert De Niro take this stage without a fight. She turned sharply to her assistant. Where's that old De Niro clip? The assistant raised an iPad. Here, CNN, 2016. He's praising Obama. Leavitt smirked. Perfect. Send it to production. I want it playing the second I walk out. The light shifted. The break ended. Karoline Leavitt emerged from backstage, high heels clicking against the floor, her frame small but unshakable in the suit. As the crowd roared, MAGA fans clapped, while liberal viewers booed and jeered. Hannity raised a hand. Please welcome the White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. She gave him a sharp nod, gaze scanning the audience before locking eyes with Darrow. He sat back, arms crossed, that smug grin still plastered on his face. But Leavitt wasn't here to wilt. She was here to win. Gripping the microphone, she stood, tall. Her voice rang out steady, sharp. Mr. Darrow, I heard every word, Gen Z puppet, clueless kid. You think standing there with 2 Oscars and a Goodfellas accent gives you the right to humiliate me and President Trump in front of the nation? You're wrong. The room hushed, stunned by her poise. Darrow raised an eyebrow, amused, but she didn't let him speak. You called Trump a gangster and me a lackey. But have you looked at yourself lately? A Hollywood legend, sure, but you're living off luxury, soaking in new hospitality, starring in flops like the Alto Knights. And now you're up here talking about failure? MAGA cheers erupted, some rising to their feet. You've played tough guys your whole life, Mr. Darrow, she continued, stepping closer. But in real life, you're just another out-of-touch actor who doesn't understand the people you pretend to speak for. Darrow's smirk faded just a bit. You mocked me over the signal leak. Fine. I didn't run that chat. But what do you know about accountability? You stood outside Trump's courthouse, called him a malignant narcissist. Ever looked in the mirror? She raised a hand. The big screen behind them lit up. A clip from 2016. Darrow in a gray suit on CNN smiling. I like how Obama handles things. He's smart. He's got vision. The clip froze. Gasps and scattered murmurs rippled through the crowd. Leavitt turned, back, voice like a blade. That's you praising Obama, the guy Trump beat to bring change Americans demanded. You say you hate Trump, but you praised what he had to fix, so tell me, Mr. Darrow, who's the hypocrite? More cheers. Applause shook the walls. Whistles. Phones raised. Darrow's face flushed red. He gripped the edge of his chair, caught off guard. He tried to speak. Leavitt didn't let him. I'm not done, she said coldly. You call me Trump's puppet? I'm here because I believe in what we're doing, making America strong again. From the economy to the border, she pointed directly at him. And you? Who do you represent? Besides Hollywood elites? You live in mansions. You open restaurants for critics. I grew up in New Hampshire in a middle-class home. I know what real Americans are going through. So, tell me again, who's out of touch? The crowd exploded. Chants of Karoline, Karoline echoed. Hannity raised both hands to calm them, laughing in disbelief at the intensity. But she wasn't finished. Leavitt stepped even closer, voice firm. You mock my faith. Say I pray to cover for Trump? I pray for strength, strength you don't understand, because you only play tough. I am tough. Applause spread like wildfire, cheers now coming from all corners. Even a few previously quiet viewers began to nod. Dyro leaned back, the grin gone, fingers tapping nervously. Leavitt's words cut through whatever script he'd prepared. She leaned in, voice low but clear, each word deliberate. You wanted unedited truth? Here's the truth. Trump won because the people chose him. Not Hollywood, not you. I'm 27, and I've been working for him since college. From the White House to this stage. I'm not a puppet, Leavitt declared, turning back to the camera. I'm a voice for millions, and you? She turned to Dyro, her voice cool and final. You're done. Gasps rippled through the audience. The Alto Knights lost. $40 million. What standing do you have to talk about success or failure? Dyro sprang to his feet, finger pointing. You think you're clever, huh? I've fought bigger than you my whole life. But the bravado cracked in his voice and the crowd could hear it. Whistles of mockery followed. Leavitt just smiled, small, composed, relentless. Fight whoever you want. But today, you lost. Her voice was calm, unwavering. I'm not here for your amusement. I'm here to show the country how wrong you are. She turned to the crowd, raising a hand. Who here thinks Mr. Dyro should retire? The room erupted, applause, cheers, and shouts blending into a roaring anthem. Hannity clapped and laughed, beaming. Karoline, he said, shaking his head in awe, you just made this stage yours. Leavitt took her seat across from Dyro, legs crossed, gaze steady. Dyro stared back, gripping the arms of his chair. Face red, his legendary cool shattered. You're good, he muttered, low but caught by the mic. But I'm not done. Leavitt shrugged. Neither am I, Mr. Dyro. Ask away, if you still dare. Seconds later, the Fox News team clipped the exchange. The moment Leavitt played the old video, You're done, hit social media instantly. Leavitt vs. Dyro trended within minutes, the internet ablaze. Dyro sat stiff, eyes dark. He hadn't expected a counterattack, much less one this sharp, this public. She'd taken his ambush and turned it into a reckoning. Not just a comeback, a dismantling. He clenched his fists as her words echoed again. You live in luxury mansions. You're done. Each line chipped away at the persona he'd built over decades. Hannity chuckled, looking between them. Bob, got anything to say? She just lit this place up. But Dyro wasn't laughing. He stood again, pointing directly at Leavitt, his voice strained, his signature growl cracking at the edges. You think you're so smart, kid, he snapped. You dare stand here using old footage to lecture me? Who do you think you are to say I'm done? The room went silent again, waiting. You're Trump's puppet, he continued, lifting his hand like he was on stage. I was right. You're 27. You haven't lived long enough to know what's what. And now you come on Fox News to teach me about truth? I've seen men like Trump, he's a menace, and you're just his echo. Boos rang out from the MAGA section. One voice yelled, Sit down, Bob. Dyro turned toward the hecklers, eyes wild. You want me to shut up? I won't. I'm here to speak truth. Trump's unfit, and so is she. But his voice cracked again. More laughter. Hannity lifted a hand. Bob, cool it. She brought receipts. That Obama clip? How do you explain? That Dyro whirled back toward the screen. So what? He barked. I can change my mind. I'm not a puppet like her. Reading Trump's script line by line. That only lit the fire hotter. Someone shouted, Really done now, Bobby? Leavitt leaned forward, smile faint but unshakable. You want to talk about scripts? She said. I don't need anyone to write my words. She gestured toward him. But you, Mr. Dyro, you've always had scripts. From The Godfather to The Irishman, someone else put the words in your mouth. Me? I speak from belief, that's why I'm here. Another round of applause. Louder now. The energy surged through the room. Dyro's face went crimson. He gripped the mic like a lifeline. Don't get cocky with me, he growled, hands trembling. I built my career from nothing, from the streets of Little Italy. I didn't need Trump or Fox News. I've got films. Leavitt didn't flinch. And what do you have? He pressed, spitting the words. Besides, a mouth reading his orders? But the crowd wasn't on his side anymore. Another round of laughter swelled. A voice near the front called out, "The Alto Knights lost 40 million, Bob." Even Hannity threw his head back, laughing. "Karoline, you've got him fired up now." Darrow's head snapped toward him, voice sharp. "She's not firing me up. She's just an arrogant kid. I've been fighting Trump since she was in diapers. I stood outside his courthouse, faced the cameras, while she just prays and covers up." But his voice was tired, hollow. The crowd heard it, and Leavitt answered, calm as ever. "I pray for strength, Mr. Darrow," she said. "What do you pray for when the Alto Knights flops that hard?" Laughter thundered through the studio as Darrow stepped back, dropping the mic onto the table. His face was blank, frozen. The screen cut to commercial, but the tension refused to fade. When the show returned, Darrow was still sitting there, hunched and grim, trying to pull himself together. "I'm not done," he muttered, eyes locked on Leavitt. "You want to play this game? Fine. I'll show the country who you really are, a childish opportunist." But his voice quivered. The crowd, once respectful, had turned. No cheers, just silence. Hannity leaned in, amused. "Bob, she scored. Big tonight. You got anything left to flip the board?" Darrow hesitated. Then quietly, almost to himself, he said, "I don't need to turn it around. I'm Robert Darrow and she's nothing." After the credits rolled, Darrow stormed out of the studio, face like stone. His team followed close behind, whispering. In the car, he pulled out his phone and furiously typed, "Karoline Leavitt is arrogant, but Trump is still the real danger. I didn't lose today." He hit post. Seconds later, the first reply popped up, from a MAGA account. "You lost, Bob. Go retire." He stared at the screen, then tossed the phone onto the seat, his hands trembling, his denial unraveling. The next morning, he appeared on CNN, still trying to recover. "She thinks she's clever," he told the anchor. "But I've seen it all. I've fought Trump for years. She's just his shadow." Back at Fox, the studio lights dimmed, but the energy buzzed. Applause echoed, lingering like aftershocks. Karoline Leavitt sat calmly, legs crossed, a faint smile flickering across her face, like a gladiator who'd just claimed victory. Across from her, Darrow slumped in his chair, hands limp, eyes dark, and distant. He wasn't just defeated. He looked erased. Hannity stood, arms raised in disbelief. "What did we just witness?" he asked the crowd. "Karoline Leavitt owns this stage." The audience roared. MAGA supporters chanted, "Karoline, Karoline." Meanwhile, liberals in the room whispered, stunned. Some shook their heads, unable to grasp that an 81-year-old icon had just been dismantled, live, by a 27-year-old firebrand. But the battle wasn't over. It had only moved online. Minutes after the broadcast ended, Fox News posted the viral clip, Leavitt playing Darrow's old Obama praise footage, followed by her killer line, "You're done, Mr. Darrow." In under 30 seconds, Leavitt freezes Darrow exploded to the top of trending. Tens of thousands of posts lit up the feed. The MAGA crowd rallied like they'd found their new champion. A conservative influencer with over 500K followers tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt just knocked out Darrow. Gen Z 1, Hollywood 0. It was paired with a photo of Leavitt at the mic, eyes blazing. Thousands of likes poured in. Another viral post read, "She's 27. She made Darrow tremble." MAGA's comeback queen. Attached was a clip of her line, "You live in luxury mansions." Memes followed like a flood. One showed Darrow red-faced and shaking. Captioned, "When you think you're a Goodfellas gangster but Gen Z schools you on live TV." Another fan-edited mashup paired her, "You're done," with a silent clip of Darrow from The Irishman. It hit over 200,000 views in an hour. A MAGA account posted, "Karoline just reminded Darrow, Fox News isn't Hollywood's playground. Retire, Bob," with a photo of her raising her hand to the crowd. Thousands of retweets. Killer Karoline started trending. Trump didn't pick her for show, one tweet read. She's the real fighter. But Diro's defenders scrambled. Some tried. Diro's a legend. This kid just used cheap tricks. Others were more honest. I love Bob, but he got smoked. A particularly brutal meme featured a shot from Taxi Driver. You talking to me? Captioned, yeah, Bob, and you lost. Even longtime fans admitted it. He thought he was untouchable. Karoline showed the country, he's done. One reply went viral. Diro mocked her faith and paid for it. Embarrassing. The crowd's laughter when Leavitt mentioned the Alto Knights losing $40 million became its own meme. Reposted endlessly, it came with the same punchline. She turned Bob into a joke. Even the media jumped in. Fox News hailed her. Karoline Leavitt teaches Robert De Niro a lesson in truth. A Fox and Friends host tweeted, she just made De Niro an example. Don't mess with Trump's Gen Z. But liberal outlets fired back. CNN's banner read, Leavitt scores points, but remains Trump's echo chamber. And Variety dropped a headline that stirred debate. De Niro's rare defeat. What? It means for Hollywood's old guard. De Niro had underestimated his young opponent. Even some of his critics admitted it. She's sharper than we thought, one commentator conceded. That old clip? A perfect strike. In a crowded bar, a middle-aged man in a MAGA hat turned to his friend. She made me proud, he said, grinning. Took down De Niro right on Fox turf. Not far away, a liberal-leaning woman shook her head, conflicted. I like Bob, she said, but she was too quick. He didn't stand a chance. Phones lit up across the room. Clips of Leavitt's "You're done" line shot across Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at breakneck speed. One user captioned their upload, Drama of the Year. Karoline 1, De Niro 0. De Niro meltdown rivaling Jeer Leavitt TVs. Another tweet, already viral. De Niro raged, but did nothing. Karoline 1, clean. Even as Hannity signed off, the ripple effects stretched far beyond the Fox studio or trending hashtags. Leavitt exited the stage with a faint smile, eyes steady. Her crisp, deep blue suit looked untouched by battle. De Niro, in contrast, left in haste. His team surrounded him, but he kept his eyes locked on his phone, hands clenched tight around the device after that rage tweet. But this wasn't just a viral moment. It was a seismic one, reshaping both their public images and political trajectories. Leavitt, once dismissed as a token spokesperson, emerged as a conservative icon. De Niro, once an untouchable legend, had taken a public blow that rattled his mystique. In the West Wing, the mood was electric. Hours later, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. Karoline Leavitt was fantastic, took down De Niro and the phony Hollywood crowd. Very proud. It wasn't just flattery. It was an endorsement, a signal that at 27 Leavitt had cemented her place in Trump's inner circle. Even advisors who once doubted her, Stephen Miller, Kayleigh McEnany, now admitted her talent. One insider told Fox, Trump loved it. She didn't just survive, she dominated, on enemy ground. Her next White House briefings drew unprecedented attention. Reporters grilled her on everything from Signal to Trump's court cases. She smiled, unshaken. I faced Robert De Niro, she said. These questions don't faze me. The room fell silent. Conservatives rallied behind her instantly. Charlie Kirk tweeted, Karoline Leavitt is the future. Youth, faith, fearless. She just taught Hollywood a lesson. Breitbart headlined, at 27 she did what veteran politicians wouldn't dare. Took down De Niro before millions. Quick. Polls on X showed her MAGA support skyrocketing. One user posted, she crushed De Niro, put her in the Senate. Killer Karoline is here. The nickname stuck. What started as a spokesperson role had now transformed her into a symbol, a Gen Z warrior, for the conservative movement. Not just loyal to Trump, but a proven fighter on the media front lines. Of course, not everyone cheered. Liberal voices and De Niro loyalists called it theater, a stage-managed stunt for Trump. The Daily Beast wrote, "She's not brilliant, just well-trained. Using an old clip doesn't make her a genius." An MSNBC commentator said, "She's sharp, sure, but she still parrots Trump." De Niro was right to call him a danger. Even so, many critics had to concede, she played the game better. A CNN reporter admitted De Niro underestimated her. Now she's in the spotlight, and conservatives are going to milk that for all it's worth. The signal controversy that once dogged her had vanished, eclipsed by her new warrior image. De Niro, meanwhile, faced unfamiliar territory. Defeat. He went back on CNN the next day trying to reframe the moment. "She's arrogant," he said, "but Trump's still the real threat. I didn't lose, I'm telling the truth." But the spark was gone. His voice lacked conviction. The audience could sense it. The narrative had slipped away. Some fans defended him online. De Niro's a legend. One loss doesn't change that, but others were blunt. He just got humiliated by Leavitt. It's over. Variety ran a headline. De Niro's rare flop. Didn't expect Gen Z to hit back that hard. Critics accused him of overreaching. His mockery of Leavitt's faith backfired. He looked like a bully, and she made him pay. One tweet summed it up. His legacy isn't gone. He still has 2 Oscars. But this left a dent. From The Godfather Part 2 to The Irishman, De Niro had defined tough. But now? The Atlantic asked, at 81, can he still be the anti-Trump crusader? Or is it time to pass the torch? Some fans urged him to stick to acting, to finish strong with his upcoming Netflix film 0 Day, instead of chasing political sparring matches with Gen Z stars. As for Leavitt, the night redefined her. She turned his Gen Z puppet jab into a strength and used his own 2016 praise of Obama as a weapon. She wasn't just surviving the spotlight, she was owning it. From running for Congress to becoming the youngest White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany carved her path with precision. But now, Karoline Leavitt is picking up that torch and sharpening it. She's honed her edge on Fox News, her Catholic faith openly shared on CBN not just as personal conviction, but as a bridge to millions of conservative Americans. So when Trump tweeted "very proud," it wasn't just a compliment, it was a coronation. Leavitt became the face of a new MAGA generation, young, tough, and unafraid of elites. She didn't just defend Trump, she proved Gen Z could own the game, and she made Fox News her battlefield. Meanwhile, Robert De Niro, with 2 Oscars, a Golden Globe, and a resume from Goodfellas to The Irishman, stood as Hollywood's aging anti-Trump titan. His courthouse roars once echoed power. But that night, on live TV, the spotlight told a different story. At 81, De Niro miscalculated. He thought experience would eclipse youth. He thought mocking would overwhelm confidence. He thought a viral jab about Gen Z puppets would crush her. Instead, Leavitt flipped the script, using his own 2016 praise for Obama to strike back. Her takedown, "You're done." Her line about Alto Nights losing $40 million, it flustered De Niro and exposed a disconnect with a younger, faster-moving audience. His legacy? Still respected. But this moment left a crack. A reminder that old Hollywood clout can stumble when met with digital native sharpness. The headline wrote itself. Karoline Leavitt destroys Robert De Niro on live TV. His furious response went nuclear, online, echoing the country's deep polarization. In that moment, America saw more than a media clash. It saw the power shift, generational, political, and digital. Because this wasn't just a drama. It was a snapshot of modern America where social media defines influence, memes become messaging, and the fastest finger often wins the fight. Leavitt at 27 turned De Niro's attack into fuel. De Niro at 81 raged, but stumbled. Leavitt beats De Niro, Gen Z 1 Boomer 0. TikTok and X lit up with memes and praise. Trump's tweet cemented it. Karoline knocked it out of the park. This wasn't just a viral moment, it was a media milestone. The lesson? In today's America, never underestimate your opponent and always come armed. Whether at work, on social media, or in politics, the win goes to the one who's prepared. Leavitt studied her opponent. She used his words. She refused the label. And that's a move you can use too. De Niro fell into the trap of legacy. He thought past glory guaranteed future wins. But sharpness beats status, especially when the camera's rolling. In a world where a Trump repost or a trending hashtag can flip narratives in hours, take Leavitt's cue, stand your ground, wield your facts, and tell your story before someone else does. Because whether you're Gen Z or a boomer, power belongs to those who are ready. Thanks for watching Karoline Leavitt take down De Niro in this peak political media showdown. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next fiery battle. Coming up, who might killer Karoline face off with next? See you in the next video.